Are you tired of this scene? You lovingly plant your seed potatoes, dreaming of a bountiful harvest. Your plants emerge, green and vigorous, and then, almost overnight, they appear. The striped nightmares, the Colorado potato beetles, they turn your beautiful, lush leaves into something that looks like green lace, destroying your plants and your hopes for a full pantry. What if I told you there's a way to stop them before they even start? A simple, organic ingredient you add to the planting hole that makes these pests fear your garden. The big agricultural chemical companies would really rather you didn't know this ancient, powerful trick. Stick with me, and I'll show you how to make your potato patch a no-go zone for beetles, ensuring your biggest harvest ever. To defeat your enemy, you must understand your enemy. The Colorado potato beetle is a master of survival. The adult beetles overwinter in the soil of your garden, just waiting. As soon as you plant your potatoes and the soil warms up, they emerge, hungry and ready to mate. A single female can lay hundreds of bright yellow eggs on the undersides of the leaves. These hatch into soft red voracious larvae that do the most damage, munching on leaves 24 hours a day. The conventional approach is a never-ending cycle known as the pesticide treadmill. You spray, you kill some, but others survive and develop resistance. Then you need stronger chemicals. It's expensive, it's time-consuming, and it harms the good guys in your garden like bees and ladybugs. Today, we break that cycle for good. We're not going to fight the beetles. We're going to make our garden so uninviting they'll wish they'd emerged in your neighbor's yard instead. Our strategy begins not with a spray bottle, but with a shovel and a bag of what I call garden gold. The secret weapon we're adding to the planting hole is neem seed meal. Now, this isn't some newfangled laboratory-created chemical. This is an ancient solution used for centuries in organic agriculture. Neem seed meal is the leftover solid material after the oil has been pressed from the seeds of the neem tree. It's a completely natural plant-based product that works in a way that is both brilliant and, from the beetle's perspective, terrifying. It's the cornerstone of our proactive defense system. Instead of waiting for the attack and then reacting, we are fortifying our plants from the inside out, right from day one. This simple shift in mindset from reactive to proactive is the most important lesson any smart gardener can learn. It saves you work, it saves you money, and it saves your harvest. So, how does this brown, crumbly powder actually work? The magic is in a compound called azadirachtin. This is the active ingredient in neem that makes it so effective. When you mix neem seed meal into the soil around your seed potato, the plant's roots begin to absorb trace amounts of this compound as it grows. It becomes systemic, meaning it's present throughout the plant's tissues, from the roots to the very tips of the leaves. Now, it's not a contact poison. An adult beetle can land on the leaf and be perfectly fine. But the moment it takes a bite, it gets a taste of that bitter azadirachtin. This acts as an anti-feedant. The beetle essentially thinks, yuck, this doesn't taste right, and is encouraged to move on to find a more palatable meal. It's like putting a "Do Not Eat" sign on every single one of your potato leaves, a sign only the pest insects can read. The first line of defense, making the leaves taste bad, is great for deterring the adults. But the real genius of neem seed meal lies in how it deals with the next generation. Let's say a particularly stubborn beetle decides to ignore the bad taste and lays its eggs on your plant. Those eggs will hatch into the destructive little red larvae. As these larvae begin to feed on the leaves, they ingest the azadirachtin that the plant has absorbed. For them, it's not just a bad taste, it's a hormone disruptor. It interferes with their natural growth cycle. The larvae are unable to molt properly, which is how they grow from one stage to the next. Their development is arrested. They cannot mature into adults. They cannot reproduce, and the life cycle of the pest is broken right in your garden. You've stopped the invasion without ever having to lift a sprayer. One of the most beautiful aspects of using neem seed meal is its intelligence. Unlike broad-spectrum chemical pesticides that kill everything they touch, neem is remarkably targeted. The azadirachtin compound primarily affects chewing and sucking insects that are actively feeding on the plant's tissues. This means that your beneficial insects, the unsung heroes of the garden, are largely left unharmed. Ladybugs, lacewings, parasitic wasps, and most importantly, our precious pollinators like bees and butterflies are safe. They aren't eating the plant's leaves, so they aren't ingesting the compound. You are surgically removing the bad guys while protecting and nurturing the good guys. This creates a healthier, more balanced ecosystem in your garden, where nature's own pest control army can thrive and help you out even more. Now for the practical part. How much do you actually use? This is the best part for the lazy gardener. It's incredibly simple. You don't need to be a chemist or a scientist. The general rule of thumb is to add a small handful, roughly 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup, into each planting hole. When you dig your trench or hole for your seed potato, simply sprinkle the neem seed meal in the bottom. You can mix it lightly with the soil at the base of the hole. Then, place your seed potato on top of it and cover it up with soil as you normally would. That's it. That one simple action, which adds maybe 5 extra seconds per potato, has now set up a season-long defense system. There's no mixing, no measuring of liquids, and no repeat applications needed. You do it once at planting, and you can walk away with confidence. But wait, there's more. I told you this was garden gold, and I meant it. Neem seed meal is not just a pest repellent. It's also a fantastic organic, slow-release fertilizer. It typically has an NPK, or nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, value of around 612. This makes it an excellent source of nitrogen, which is crucial for lush, green, leafy growth in the early stages of the potato plant's life. And because it's an organic meal, it breaks down slowly in the soil, feeding your plants steadily over several months. It won't cause a sudden, weak flush of growth like synthetic fertilizers can. It provides consistent, stable nutrition that builds strong, resilient plants from the ground up. So, the same product that is protecting your plants is also feeding them. That is the definition of smart, efficient gardening. The benefits of neem seed meal extend even deeper, right into the very life of your soil. This organic matter helps improve soil structure. If you have heavy clay soil, it helps to break it up, improving drainage and aeration. If you have sandy soil, it helps to retain moisture and nutrients. But its most powerful underground benefit is its effect on soil-borne pests, particularly root knot nematodes. These microscopic worms are a plague for many gardeners, causing galls on the roots and stunting plant growth. The compounds in neem are toxic to these harmful nematodes, effectively sanitizing the soil in the root zone of your potatoes. By adding it to your planting hole, you're not just protecting the leaves. You're creating a safe haven for the root system, which is the engine of the entire plant. To truly create a fortress around our potatoes, we need to think beyond just one magic bullet. We need to employ a strategy of confusion and misdirection. This is where companion planting comes into play. Colorado potato beetles, like many insects, find their host plants primarily through scent. We can use this to our advantage by planting aromatic herbs and flowers nearby that mask the delicious smell of our potato plants. Think of it as olfactory camouflage. Plants like marigolds, tansy, catnip, and even horseradish are excellent choices. Their strong, pungent odors can confuse the beetles, making it much harder for them to locate your potato patch in the first place. If they can't find it, they can't eat it. Planting a border of marigolds around your potato bed isn't just beautiful, it's a functional, living barrier. Another key principle of smart pest management is to build the strongest, healthiest plants possible. A plant that is stressed or nutrient deficient is like a person with a weak immune system. It's far more susceptible to attack from pests and diseases. A strong, vigorous plant can often shrug off minor pest damage. This is why we're going to add another simple ingredient to our planting hole: a source of calcium. Crushed eggshells, which you can save from your kitchen, or a bit of bone meal, are perfect for this. Calcium is absolutely vital for building strong cell walls within the plant. Strong cell walls make the leaves physically tougher and harder for insects to chew. It's like putting a suit of armor on your potato plant at a cellular level. It also helps prevent issues like blossom end rot in other plants and supports overall plant vigor. So let's put together our ultimate potato pocket planting formula. We're creating a perfect little environment for each seed potato to thrive in. Start with your dug hole or trench. First, sprinkle in your quarter cup of neem seed meal. This is your pest defense and your primary nitrogen source. Next, add a tablespoon or two of bone meal or a small handful of crushed eggshells. This is your calcium source for building a strong, resilient plant. If your soil is poor, you can also add a scoop of well-rotted compost or worm castings. This inoculates the soil with beneficial microbes and adds a full spectrum of nutrients. You then mix these amendments lightly with the soil at the bottom of the hole. Place your seed potato and cover it all up. You have now given that potato everything it needs to grow strong and stay protected. One of the most powerful, yet often overlooked, strategies in the war against the potato beetle is crop rotation. It's a fundamental principle of organic gardening for a reason. As we discussed, the adult beetles overwinter in the soil where you grew potatoes last year. If you plant potatoes in that exact same spot again, you are essentially setting up a breakfast-in-bed service for them. They emerge from the soil, and their first meal is right there waiting. You must break this cycle. The simplest rule is to follow a 3-year, or even better, a 4-year rotation. This means you should not plant potatoes or any member of their family like tomatoes, peppers, or eggplant in the same patch of ground more than once every 3 to 4 years. This simple act of moving them around your garden will drastically reduce the initial number of adult beetles you have to deal with. Let's talk about timing and observation, because even with our supercharged planting holes, being a smart gardener means paying attention. The first wave of adult beetles that emerge from the soil after winter is the most critical to control. If you can eliminate them, they won't have a chance to lay eggs and create the much larger, more destructive second generation of larvae. In the first few weeks after your potato plants emerge, take a walk through your patch every morning. It's peaceful and it's productive. Look for those adult beetles. Because of our neem-treated soil, they will be less numerous and less interested in feeding, making them easier to spot. Handpick any that you see and drop them into a bucket of soapy water. It might seem tedious, but removing one adult in May can prevent hundreds of larvae in June. Another helpful tactic is mulching. Once your potato plants are about 6 to 8 inches tall, it's a great time to apply a thick layer of mulch around them. You can use straw, shredded leaves, or grass clippings. Mulching has many benefits. It conserves soil moisture, suppresses weeds, and keeps the soil cool. But in the context of potato beetles, it has two specific advantages. First, it can create a physical barrier that makes it more difficult for any later emerging adult beetles to crawl out of the soil and find the plants. Second, and more importantly, it provides a habitat for beneficial predatory insects. Ground beetles, spiders, and other predators that love to eat beetle eggs and larvae will make their home in the mulch layer, becoming your round-the-clock garden patrol. We should also briefly discuss the concept of trap crops. This is a slightly more advanced but very clever technique. The idea is to plant a small patch of a crop that the potato beetles love even more than potatoes, somewhere away from your main potato patch. Eggplant is a fantastic trap crop for this purpose. The beetles will be drawn to the eggplant like a magnet. You can then focus your control efforts, like hand-picking, on this one small concentrated area, leaving your main crop of potatoes largely untouched. It's a classic divide-and-conquer strategy. You sacrifice a few eggplant plants to save your entire potato harvest. It's another example of working smarter, not harder, and using the pest's own instincts against them. Let's revisit the long-term benefits of this system. By incorporating things like neem meal, compost, and bone meal into your soil year after year, you are not just performing a task. You are building an asset. You are building healthy, living soil. Soil that is rich in organic matter and teeming with microbial life grows healthier plants, period. And as we've established, healthier plants are more resistant to all kinds of pests and diseases, not just the potato beetle. You'll find that you have fewer problems with blight, less trouble with other insects, and your plants will be more resilient to stresses like drought or heat. This isn't a one-time trick for one pest. It's an investment in the long-term health and productivity of your entire garden. What about different potato varieties? Does this method work for all of them? The answer is a resounding yes. Whether you are growing early-season varieties like Yukon Gold, mid-season varieties like Red Pontiac, or late-season storage potatoes like russets, the principle remains the same. The neem seed meal provides systemic protection to any variety you choose. However, it's worth noting that some potato varieties do have slightly more natural resistance to pests than others. Varieties with hairier leaves, for example, can be a bit more difficult for the beetle larvae to munch on. When you're buying your seed potatoes, it never hurts to ask or do a little research on which varieties perform best against pest pressure in your specific area. Combining a resilient variety with our fortified planting hole method is how you achieve a truly foolproof system. Let's address a common question. Is it safe? When people hear that a product can stop insects, they naturally worry about safety for themselves, their children, and their pets. This is where the beauty of an organic product like neem seed meal truly shines. It is completely safe for use in organic gardening. It is non-toxic to mammals, birds, and fish. You can handle it with your bare hands, although wearing gloves is always a good practice in the garden. Your pets can wander through the garden without any risk. And, of course, the potatoes you harvest will be perfectly safe and delicious to eat. You are harnessing the power of a plant to protect a plant. It's a clean, safe, and sustainable solution that you can feel 100% good about using in your garden. Think about the economic advantage here. A bag of neem seed meal is a modest investment, and it will last you a long time, especially if you're only using a small handful per potato. Compare that to the cost of chemical sprays, which need to be purchased and reapplied throughout the season, year after year. Then consider the value of your time. How many hours have you spent in the past picking off beetle larvae one by one or mixing and applying sprays? Our method concentrates the work into a few seconds at planting time, freeing you up to enjoy your garden for the rest of the season. When you factor in the fertilizer benefits and the soil improvement, the value proposition is undeniable. It's one of the most cost-effective and time-effective investments you can make in your garden. Let's circle back to our main enemy for a moment and consider their perspective. Imagine you are a Colorado potato beetle. You emerge from the soil, ready for your favorite meal. But the garden you've woken up in is a house of horrors. The air is filled with the confusing smells of marigolds and catnip. The potato plants, when you finally find them, taste bitter and unappetizing. And even if you manage to lay some eggs, your children get sick and never grow up. You would quickly learn that this is not a good place to live. Over time, you are actively discouraging the beetle population from even considering your garden as a viable home. You are not just winning a battle. You are winning the war by making your garden a fundamentally inhospitable place for your enemy. So, to put it all together, our complete defense system is a multi-layered strategy. It's not about relying on one single thing, but about stacking several smart, simple techniques in our favor. Layer 1 is crop rotation, which reduces the initial enemy force. Layer 2 is our fortified planting hole with neem for defense and food and calcium for strength. Layer 3 is companion planting, our olfactory camouflage. Layer 4 is mulching to create a physical barrier and a home for our allies. And Layer 5 is vigilant observation and handpicking in the early weeks. When you combine all these simple, low-effort strategies, they create a powerful synergistic effect. The result is a potato patch that is practically impenetrable and a harvest that will fill your root cellar. So, there you have it. The real secret to defeating the Colorado potato beetle isn't found in a spray bottle. It's found in a bag of neem seed meal, in a handful of eggshells, in a border of marigolds, and in the simple wisdom of crop rotation. It's about shifting your mindset from fighting a war with chemicals to building a garden ecosystem that is strong, resilient, and naturally inhospitable to pests. By fortifying your plants from the inside out, right from the moment you put them in the ground, you save yourself countless hours of work and worry. You create healthier soil, protect the beneficial insects, and grow the most delicious, nutritious potatoes you've ever tasted. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more smart gardening tips that deliver big results with less work. Now, I want to hear from you. What is the single most frustrating pest you deal with in your garden? Let me know in the comments below, and let's all share our wisdom and help each other grow.